In the heart of a forest that echoed with decay, a figure hunched over a cauldron. Shadows danced over her form, cast by the candlelight that flickered around the moss-covered walls of her secluded hut. The song she hummed carried a weight of centuries, hauntingly weaving its way through the silent forest. But her seclusion was about to be disturbed. A woman cloaked in the darkest hues of midnight, wearing a silver amulet around her neck, moved through the night. The hunter. In the chilled air, the hunter moved with an aura of grim determination. Every whisper of wind, every rustle of leaves was a potential threat in her seasoned eyes. She'd heard tales of the Bone Witch, of a cursed being who dwelt amongst death and decay. Unlike many, she didn't tremble at the mention of witches. Instead, she saw an abomination, as well as a tangled weave of truth and lies to be dissected. But even she felt a prickling sense of dread as she ventured deeper into this accursed forest. This hunt was different somehow. The moon, high in the star-studded sky, cast long shadows that seemed to sway in tune with the Bone Witch's ancient melody. Drawn in by the eeriness of the song, the hunter advanced, her grip tightening around her amulet. Yet in the forest's heart, the Bone Witch watched. This place was hers. Every leaf crunched by the hunter's boot, every gust of wind that fluttered her cloak, she was attuned to. She stirred her cauldron, the green glow of it dancing across her marbled face. She felt a strange sense of kinship with this hunter. Two women, caught in the dance of fate, each bearing the burdens of their past. The Bone Witch, a symbol of fear and sorrow. The hunter, a beacon of hope against the dark and deprave. Underneath the brooding canopy, the hunter neared the dwelling. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears, a staccato rhythm battling against the pervasive silence. Her fingers traced the embossed handle of the crossbow by her side. The scent of old magic, something sinister, filled her nostrils as she approached the door. She glanced through the cracked door. There, by the flickering firelight, she saw the Bone Witch. Her hands worked over her cauldron, each stir a symbol of her relentless existence in this wretched forest. The hunter felt a moment of sadness for the creature. Here was a woman twisted by her desperation, a victim of circumstances beyond her control. But the moment passed, replaced by the hard resolve of duty. She was here for a purpose. Pushing the door open, she broke the silence. "Bone Witch," her voice rang out, assertive and clear. The other woman paused, her humming coming to an abrupt stop. The Bone Witch turned to face her guest. Her eyes, pools of liquid night, glowed under her furrowed brows. "Welcome," she said, her voice a gravelly whisper. The hunter stiffened, one hand gripping her amulet tighter. This was it, the encounter she had prepared for. But the Bone Witch did not attack. Instead, she gestured towards a wooden cup by the edge of her cauldron. "Would you like a drink?" Unsettled, the hunter didn't move, her eyes fixed on the creature. This wasn't what she'd expected. Something was wrong. As the two women faced each other in the shadowy hut, the forest outside continued its timeless vigil. The offer hung in the air between them, a note of discord in the tension-laden silence. The hunter's gaze flickered between the witch's face and the wooden cup by the cauldron, her thoughts racing. It must be a trap, she thought. The Bone Witch was trying to catch her off guard. Yet the hunter couldn't shake off the flicker of uncertainty. Without a word, the hunter's hand flew to her side, fingers closing around the cold, familiar handle of her hand crossbow. In one swift motion, she raised it, her body reacting to years of training. The twang of the crossbow string broke the eerie quiet. The Bone Witch did not move, her dark eyes never leaving the hunter. With a flick of her wrist, the bolt veered off course, embedding itself into the wooden wall of the hut with a thud. She stood there, undeterred. A moment of surprise crossed the hunter's face, but she masked it with hardened determination. She knew it wouldn't be that easy, but was still ready. The first round may have missed, but this was far from over. As the Bone Witch resumed her rhythmic stirring, the hunter readied her next bolt. Her eyes glinted with icy resolve. Around her, the scent of decay seemed to grow stronger, mingling with the aroma of the witch's brew. She lifted the crossbow and fired again. Suddenly, the Bone Witch raised her hand, fingers splayed wide, and a gust of raw, primal energy flew towards the hunter. Taken by surprise, she tried to dodge, but the wind caught her arm, blasting the crossbow from her grip. Without missing a step, she reached for her silver dagger. She lunged at the witch, who was too slow to react. The dagger sunk deep into her side, cutting through her ragged robes. A spray of dark blood tainted the wooden floor as the hunter twisted the dagger free. A gasp escaped the bone witch's lips, her knees buckling under her as she crumbled to the ground. The hunter stood over her, panting, a victorious glint in her eyes. She pulled a small vial of clear liquid from her pouch. Leaning over the wounded woman, she uncorked the vial. The pungent aroma filled the air, a mix of purity and sanctity that seemed out of place in the decaying surroundings. Without uttering a single word, the hunter drizzled it over the bone witch. As the sacred liquid met the open wound, a violent reaction ensued. The water fizzed and bubbled, releasing a harsh, bright light that emanated from deep within the wound itself. The bone witch trembled, her body convulsing in the throes of agony. Her eyes, wide open in shock, reflected the terrifying brightness. The light intensified with an otherworldly scream echoing through the night. The blinding flash faded, leaving the corpse with only blackened, empty sockets. Satisfied, she stepped away from the corpse, tucking the empty vial back into her pouch. With a last glance around the gloomy hut, the hunter left. The chilly night air outside was a welcome feeling after the stifling atmosphere inside. The forest seemed to exhale as the hunter disappeared into the night. Once a place of fear, the hut stood silent and empty. Yet, unbeknownst to the victorious hunter, her tale with the bone witch was far from over. Emerging from the shadows of the forest, a figure observed the retreating form of the hunter. The bone witch glanced at the lingering glow of the sigil marking the back of the hunter's leg until she disappeared from sight. Stepping into her hut, her gaze drifted to the grim sight of her own death. The holy water had done its work on the body, the wound still smouldering with a faint ethereal light. The simulacrum served its purpose, but she sighed at the thought of creating a new one. Then she shook her head, a bitter chuckle escaping her lips. The hunter had been relentless. She had to give her that. But she had also been naive. Moving to the cauldron, she resumed her stirring, the familiar rhythm echoing in the night. The green glow of the brew reflected in her eyes. A sense of anticipation for what was yet to come lingered in her mind. And so, dear listener, what fate awaits the hunter, I leave to your imagination. As for me, I await their return. If they return.